right here.
All right, Chris, we're live.
All right, cool.
So lots to talk about today. Friday was crazy, and what I want to start with is I'm still doing research on the FIZZ stock, and so see this Lacroix. I'm like buying these and drinking them. So no alcohol for me tonight. And if you watch Saturday morning's show, I actually spilled one of these live.
Oh no.
And I had to like stop in the middle of the show and go get some paper towels, but fortunately, like it all just evaporated as if it was water. It didn't like leave a residue on anything. I actually spilled a little on my my options trading Bible. Options as a strategic investment. I hold that book up all the time on the show because it's so awesome. So anyway, hopefully I won't spill it this time, but cheers.
Cheers to you. All right, I got you live. There you are.
Cool. So, Chris, you and I have been talking about the dollar a lot, and I gave the example of a lot of people are the dollar's not really on their radar,
Mhm.
and it should be. So the example I gave was if a black hole shows up in the sky and starts gobbling everything up, like you need to know what that is and when it might appear.
Mhm.
So why don't you go ahead and talk us through your take on the dollar? Or you got Tesla up? You want to start with Tesla because Tesla
Yeah,
was
let's
like really at the center of what was going on Friday.
go ahead and fire up Tesla first.
Okay, so let's talk through Tesla. I actually had a huge short position in Tesla. It was a 6-inch punch trade. I basically put on a bear put spread on I think it was Monday or Tuesday, pretty early in the week, and it expiring that Friday, and
Mhm.
aggressively lower. And it was I paid around $3 or something like that per spread.
Right.
It was I don't remember if it was less than three. It was around three. And Tesla was around $710 at that time. And the
Right.
strikes I used were the 650. I was long the 650 and short the 600. And so
Okay.
by Thursday, Tesla was down sharply. And so every time you change a chart, I found out that if I like click the zoom, it'll update on the stream. So I'll just try and be mindful to do
Okay.
that. So yeah, you could see that.
Oh, I'll let you know when.
Okay, cool. So you could see by Thursday it had already fallen a lot. It was in the spread was in the money, but not fully in the money. And so what I ended up doing was rolling down in strike. I rolled from the 650, 600. I rolled down to 630, 580. And that actually got fully in the money. And then it looked like I mean I could have closed it at like 47 or 46 maybe, but I ended up closing it at 45 and a half with still a few hours to go on the day because I thought, well, I squeezed so much juice out of this thing that like I don't need that last little bit. And I
All right.
already when you roll down on a spread like that, what it does is actually it's really awesome. When you roll down on strikes, and you're at a profit, it actually locks in some of that profit,
Mhm.
and it keeps money in play on the trade, and it also makes it so that you can make even more than you could have made if you just held the original spread all the way till expiration. So even though it closed under 600, so if I had held till expiration the original spread, it would have been worth 50 points. But I would have made 47 points, but I actually made more than that because I locked in like 12 or 15 points, something like that. It might have been a little more when I rolled
Mhm.
down, and then I made um, a whole bunch more points. I made 45 points out of the other one, although I had a cost for that. So
Right.
I think I made slightly more, maybe overall, than had I not rolled down.
So did you roll it out or did you roll it closer?
I did not
Like,
roll
did
it
you?
out. No, I didn't move on calendar. I just rolled down in strikes. Same
Oh,
calendar.
okay. I got you. Got you. Got you. Got you.
Yeah, I did do some rolling out on the ARC puts though. So what I described on I think it was the last time that you were on the show. was March 3rd, I think. And we had talked about I had put on some iron condors and used the sales proceeds from the iron condors to buy puts on ARK, and they were iron condors on ARK, and so I bought deep out of the money puts with the credit, and
Uh-huh.
then I bought the Tesla put spreads.
Right.
So like that's how I funded it, was with iron condors on ARK. Well, when we got to Thursday, I really didn't like what I was seeing, and so pretty early in the day on Thursday, I closed out those iron condors. It's a good thing I did, because those trades would have really sucked out had I held them. So I kind of like kept the winners and got rid of the losers, and it worked out as best as possible.
Right.
Now, my take about next week on this is I did roll out with the ARK puts. So yeah, ARK was down, but it wasn't down. It says ARKK was the one I was trading. There's a whole
You
bunch
want
of
me to pull
different
that
ARK.
up?
Sure, yeah, you can pull it up. So there's a bunch of different ARK funds. The one that I was trading was ARKK.
Yeah, it's up.
Yeah, we'll need just a second. All right, yeah, it just caught up on the stream, the chart. So we're seeing what you've got
I'm
on
gonna have
there.
to put on a different study because this thing blew right through. Well, you know what? Let me put it on a daily.
Okay, go ahead.
There you go.
Yeah. All right. Okay, it's caught up on the stream. So with this one, like what I'm looking at is those wicks on the bottom. Look at all those wicks over the last 2 weeks on the bottom of the
Right.
candles. Well,
Mm-hmm.
I've seen this kind of pattern before, where it looks like a bullish candle all the time.
Yeah.
Like a lot of those look bullish, right? But
Right.
and it's actually like, think about like slowly falling off a cliff and you're like grabbing onto branches as you go. Well,
Yeah.
eventually there's no more branches for you to grab onto, and then it finally snaps, and you're in free fall. And that's
Right.
what I think is going on here, and that's been my take the whole time. So that's why I rolled those ARK puts out instead of cashing them in near the lows on Friday. Because I mean they're worth a lot of money, a lot more than what I had paid for them uh, as a whole for the whole combo. So not every put was in the money, but a
Mm-hmm.
lot of them were. And with still some time to go, the people who were short those puts, they're freaking out.
Right.
So, and then the market bottomed, but for Friday. But my take on this is, I mean, this thing is being held up by dip buyers, and that's what's making these wicks. But there's a real like brewing situation here, and it goes back to the dollar. It goes back to Bitcoin. I mean, there's just so many factors going on here. Plus, I mean, Tesla's up so much. It's the darling of the bull market. They're
Oh.
true believers who are never going to sell their shares.
Mm-hmm.
And, maybe they're bag holders, maybe not. Like, maybe it'll just be like Apple and just keep going forever up to higher and
So
higher valuations. But at the same time, like, the electric vehicle space, I mean, they've really reaped a lot of the benefits they can get from investment dollars at this point. And so I think at least for the intermediate term, it's kind of played out. And that there are so many competitors coming in and cannibalizing the space. There's the CCIV Lucid Motors acquisition. There's Neo. There's Blink Charging. This whole cottage industry of electric battery and car companies all around that space. And they're all competing for investment dollars. And it's a theme that if you look at the solar stocks, because that's a battery driven trend that's going on, that's been driving those higher too. It's the same driver is battery technology, and most of that is innovation coming from the electric vehicle space because of what's been going on with Tesla. And so you see the solar stocks stalling out too. So and on big volume, I mean, I think this is probably going to continue to be a driver for lower prices with ARK, which has Tesla as a core holding. And so anyway, I'm still pretty negative on Tesla and ARK. But however, I think that the possibility for huge downside moves is actually greater in ARK. And I looked at on the show pricing the difference between the ARK puts and Tesla puts, and they were priced
mhm.
about the same. But now Tesla puts are like really expensive, and I mean ARK ones are too. But um, I don't know. I've got short bets in ARK, but not Tesla right now.
Hmm.
So what's your read on this one?
Um, on ARC, I do not see a consolidation anywhere. So that tells me number one, it's going lower. How much lower, I'm not sure. Um, but the fact that it stopped at the one standard deviation channel, the lower end, the lower bar of that channel,
Yeah.
um, it could very well get to the uh, second deviation, or two standard deviation. I want to go back to Tesla,
Yeah, let's look at Tesla again because
and
Tesla is the largest holding in ARK.
the reason that I want to go back to Tesla is I have some targets there, and I'm going to explain my way through
Okay,
them
the
as
the
soon as it
stream is
catches
caught
up.
up with your chart. If I just keep clicking it, then
Okay,
it'll keep it
so let
up
me
to
put
date.
it back on the 4 hour real quick while you're clicking it. There we go.
Okay.
Now, as you can see, we have this bull flag here, right? You got it. Oops. You got it from here to here. You see that bull flag right there?
The
Down. I mean, bear.
bear flag.
Bear
Okay,
flag.
yeah, sure.
Yeah, it comes down and then
Yeah.
you got that flag. All right. So the measured move is either from here to here. I'm sorry, from here to here or here to here, right?
Yeah.
You have a second area here. This could be the bear flag. So you're either going to have it from here to here or here to here. And what I've done, I've I've taken the two moves that line up with 618 and the 78, the 78. And I believe that it is going to hit the 618 and consolidate. And then most likely it's going to move lower after that. So you're looking at about a week or two for this to go lower.
Yeah, and
I,
there's a few traders that I respect a lot on Twitter that have like $400 price targets like short term for Tesla. I don't
mm-hmm.
mean like in one day, but like we're talking weeks.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't really follow Tesla, but I do know fibs and I know technicals, and this technically looks like a piece of dog doo doo.
Yeah, it's going down to 450 would be about that would be like a 50% decline, and big stocks do that sometimes. So my
Right.
big issue with Tesla and a lot of the ARK holdings. So this was something I went over on Saturday on the show. Is
Mm-hmm.
I looked at the charts for every single Tesla holding, or I mean ARK holding, including Tesla, and these charts are broken. They're in such steep drawdowns that they're like more than 30% drawn down, and
Uh-huh.
they don't look healthy. There's huge volume coming in to the downside. They look
Uh-huh.
broken. They're not near 52-week highs, which was, that's the behavior of a healthy stock. It's up close near the 52-week high. There was an exception though, Square. So Square is also a ARK holding, and that one to me looks the strongest. So what I'm inclined to do is put on a move long Square. The reason I'm not though, or what's holding me back from doing that is because of
Well, that's been real volatile lately, huh?
yeah, and it's big volume. You don't see it on this chart, but the volume in Square is really big on these down moves.
I could throw volume up there. I don't use volume because I don't need it. It doesn't really do anything for me.
Yeah.
Equity, show volume, apply. Okay. There we go.
Yeah, so I mean, it's not looking too huge compared to in the past, but I mean, it's bigger volume than it has been for most of the rise.
There we go.
Yeah, I mean, it's big volume on some
Um,
down bars, and it's not really stopping it. And the other thing is,
yeah.
it's in the ARC portfolio, so I'm really hesitant. I'm looking at my
Let me
longs
change the study real
in
quick.
other places. So I'll go over some longs, but
Oh God, this looks like hell.
yeah, it looks bad.
It does look like it's going to rebound for a little bit though. from what I'm
Yeah.
looking down here at my 310.
Well, it's kind of like it was riding a
Oh, I'm
channel
on the
higher, and
4.
it looks like it's now kind of broken down underneath that channel.
I take that back. I had that on the 4 hour. I'm looking at the daily now. Yeah, it still looks like dog doo doo.
Yeah, like if you run a line like an
Trend
ascending
line
line along those lows, it's now underneath where such a line would be. Yeah, kind of like
there
that.
or there.
Yeah, right there. That's what I was eyeing.
This one?
Yep. Yeah, and it's underneath that. So,
Well, it wicked below it. Yeah.
yeah, but it's still kind of below it. You
Oh, I
know,
agree that it's going to go lower. I agree that it's going to go lower. I just,
yeah, it may not do it straight away. So,
hmm
my ARC puts expiring this Friday. They may go worthless. I don't know, but here's the thing: if it looks like we go into a consolidation period on ARC, I'll just put
hmm
some more iron condors on
Well,
it.
right now it's at a 100% fib.
Maybe
So
I should do the iron condors on
let's go
square
from
because that's the
here.
strongest one.
That's an idea.
Yeah, I like that idea.
That's a 32% at the wick, and there's another 32%. So, when it hits the 32, I'm inclined to say that it's going to go higher over the long-term trend. Give me 1 second. Let me throw one more fib on it. That's a 618 there, and that's a 50% there. Short term, it still can go lower, but I do believe it's going to consolidate here. Let me clear these off and throw a standard deviation. So it's been respecting that oh god, it's been tight. Let me put it on a 4 hour real quick. Oop, that was a 2. Put on a 4 hour. That thing's all over the place, huh? Um,
Yeah. Yeah,
we
so
can
I
get
mean, it may not be easy to put on iron condors in this. I'm gonna bring it up and look at
Square
the.
is used with PayPal a lot, right?
Yeah, it's like a PayPal
Or
competitor, I
did
think.
did PayPal get away from using Square? Oh,
I'm not sure.
or did they ever use Square? Wait, you know what? I got a PayPal card reader. Let me take a look at it. Oh, no, I don't have it in my
And
drawer
while you're
anymore.
bringing that up, I'm gonna try and look at the iron condors on
I'm bringing
Square.
what up?
Huh?
While I'm bringing what up?
Well, why you said you were gonna take a look at something?
Oh, yeah, I know. I was going to take a look at the card reader that I got from PayPal, but
Yeah.
it's not in my drawer. I must have packed it up. All right, so while you're looking at that, do you want me to bounce over the dollar or wait?
Yeah. Let's wait just a second. I want to
Okay.
walk through the iron condors.
Okay.
Let's see here. Where's the button? So Square implied volatility is the IV is 63%. That's decent.
Where
So for this
what
Friday, what's that?
for which options chain?
I'm looking at March 12th.
March 12th. I'm showing 87. And you
Okay, it
got
might be
what?
higher there. I'm just looking at I guess the IV for maybe it's average across all the calendars.
Well, wait a minute. Are you looking specifically at Condors or are you just looking at
Not
calls?
yet. No, I'm gonna try and build one though. So
That's
I'm
weird.
looking at it's at 218 right now. Uh, let's see. Let me see something here.
Single
I
iron
want to see how
condor.
much the ATR is, the daily ATR. Okay, daily ATR
Doesn't
on
change.
Square is about 17 points. Let's see what the weekly is. 24 points. So we look at like a um, 20 point iron condor here.
Mm-hmm.
So on the put side, let's do this. Let's sell a 200. Oh shoot, I gotta go into the combo builder. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing or not.
Yeah,
Okay, so I'm
that's why
looking
I
at.
like my trading with Thinkorswim. I just go up to single. I click on Condor, and boom, it's there.
Okay, and they may have some suggestions too. 'Cause I
Let
know
me
that Thinkorswim does that.
put my screen over on my options chain.
So I don't know if this is the one I would use or not, but
All right, it's up there.
man, I'm not real crazy about that.
You don't like what I'm showing?
Uh, okay, no, I built one in the
Oh, okay.
IB combo builder, but yeah, we could build it on yours if you
No, that's
want.
cool. That's cool. I will go back to the screen. There we go.
So I'm looking at one. It's got a return to risk of about zero point 0.2 and a profit probability of 70% according to their thing. But really, like I got to be looking at the break evens and then figure out what that looks like against the chart. So I mean, maybe this is too wide. All right, so you've got the chart for Square up. What do you think the range will be next week?
The range is square.
Yeah.
Chop.
Chop, right, exactly. So is a range of 200 to 240 too wide?
Uh, no, I don't even think it'll go that much lower. I believe that you're going to get up to around yeah, 240 is good. And then I guess 200 just in case of a wick. Sure, that'll work.
Okay, because I mean, if we could get it narrower, then it'll be more profitable if we're right.
I think it's going to get up to 232, so maybe
Okay,
210.
so let's sell at 230 then, and then you know what we'll do is we'll cap it instead of just straight up selling strangles. You know, I like to cap it because it limits the potential for loss. So let
I'm
me
just
bring that
fearful that
into 230 and let's see what
I'm
this looks
fearful that
like
it's
here.
going to breach 230. Not by much, but it will.
Right. Yeah, but what we could do is we can put it on Monday. We put one on, and then on Tuesday, if it's higher, we put another one on with this similar range. See what I mean?
Yeah.
And so if you think it's likely to bounce here, and I think if the market doesn't implode, like if the ARC portfolio doesn't drag Square down, if it does, then I have those puts already. So I could play it a little tight on the downside.
Right.
So maybe let me bring it in from 200. Uh,
Uh, do you have an option for 235?
yeah. There's a 235 strike. Is that the
All
one
right.
you would sell?
Yeah, sell the 235 and
Okay.
you're 210.
Yep. 210 is what I'm using,
Okay.
and I'm just gonna put 5 points protection here on this.
There you go.
Okay, so here's what it looks like now. It's a much better return to risk. This is more like what I'd be looking for. It's not quite $1 you can earn for every $2 risked, but it's close enough. The return to risk is zero point 0.4. And so here's the break evens. The break evens when I construct the combo like this
Hmm.
is 208 to
Hmm.
236. And we've got some time. Like if you put this on and it blows through the range, if there's still a few days till expiration, then you have time to close it out. You don't have to sit there with it until it expires outside your range. If it goes
Right.
outside your range really fast, it's like, well, maybe you were wrong about the trade. Just close it.
Right. What's your, oh wow, look the dollar going. What's your ROI on that?
Um, so it's if you get near the midpoint on this,
Mm-hmm.
so first of all, it's 5 points on either side, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so the margin impact is $500.
Okay.
And then if you could get filled near the midpoint, and I'm not sure that you could, like this may not be liquid enough to want to do this,
Mm-hmm.
uh, because this bid ask spread looks so wide. But if you see this narrow down, then it may be worth going into. But I mean, ideally, I'd want to try and get it for like $2.
Right.
If I could get $2 credit from it, because then it's I'm posting a margin of 5, and then getting a credit of 2. And then you know what I'm doing with those credits? I'm going and buying ARC puts.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
That would be how far out are you doing the arc puts?
what I have right now is the 105 is the highest strike for the ARC put. They're expiring on Friday.
Hang on, let me put. Oh, okay, they're expiring
Yeah.
on Friday. Let me throw arc up here real
Yeah,
quick
here,
on
let me
something.
flip over to your screen.
ARKK, right?
Yeah. And so the idea here is if ARC
Oh yeah, that's
if
gonna
ARC
sell
really
off.
blows
All
out,
right.
then it'll drag Square down, and maybe that Iron Condor will be a loser. But if ARC doesn't blow out, then the credits from the Iron Condor can pay for the premiums on the ARC puts. You see, that's the idea.
Describe blowout to me. Like go down or go up?
Oh, go down.
Okay.
Yeah, like what I'm looking for is like big outflows coming from ARC.
Mm-hmm.
It is a situation where they cannot actually liquidate their stuff. Like, I mean, essentially, I'm looking for them to be cornered.
Right.
And so that would be a big, major drop. I mean, look at VIX. We haven't even seen the effects of this dollar breakout that's starting to unfold.
Right.
We haven't seen the VIX reach capitulation levels. It doesn't mean that it has to do that. But, ideally, when there's blood in the water, people like me keep pushing it until there's a problem.
Right. Well, I'd like to see another 35-day this week, VIX. I'm sorry, that's VIX futures. I'd like to see another a 36-day. Yeah, I guess 35.
I'm going to throw up VIX Central on the screen real quick, and let's talk about VIX, and then let's talk about the dollar.
All right, let me throw VIX up over here.
Dude, yeah, just bring up the VIX index if you can.
Yeah, that's what I'm working on.
All right, so I'm looking at VIX Central right now, and it's showing us the term structure.
All right, while you're doing that, I got to use the restroom. I'll be right back.
Okay, yeah, go ahead. So I'm going to talk through this real quick. So the intraday, this got really high. I'm not sure if there's a way to see the range here on VIX Central, the intraday range. But, well, it looks like it might show it. Can I see the high? No. Well, anyway, the point is it's still in contango. I mean, this is a very tranquil looking VIX curve. And it's going to essentially, this is people getting paid for iron condors and stuff like that when it's in a normal looking contango curve. We've got backwardation in 1 month. July is higher than the rest of the curve further out. So there's a little bit of backwardation there, but not in the near term. And so I think the volatility, the spot index, the VIX index itself got as high as like 35 on Friday. And then it came back down. I mean, that's pretty high. If you look, that's above the whole curve. And so we could actually confirm that like at stock charts or something. Let me get a stock charts window up. Did I close that window? No. Okay, here we go. Yeah, okay, I was wrong. The VIX index only got to like 30. And it was actually higher on Thursday. There's this guy I follow, Quarry Rock. I don't know if you follow Quarry Rock. But yeah, he shorted the VIX because it wasn't making new highs on Friday. it wasn't getting higher than it was on Thursday. So he went in there and did this really great trade where he bought puts expiring that day on Friday, and essentially like at the top of this candle, wrote it all the way down and made like 1,000% or something on that trade. It was monster trade. Yeah, I'll show his tweets.
All right, I'm back.
Hey, do you follow this guy Quarry Rock, Chris, on Twitter?
No, he's flashed across my screens a couple of times, but
Yeah, he did a super move on Friday. I want to tell you about it. So I have up the VIX chart. You have VIX up? Let me switch over to your screen. Yeah. Okay. Great. So intraday, the VIX index got to like 28. I thought it was in the 30s, but it got briefly to the 30s, I think, on Thursday.
I zoomed in.
Yeah. Okay. So on Friday, it only got up near 30, and this guy Quarry Rock noticed that it wasn't going higher on Friday than it did on Thursday. And so near the European close, he went in there and bought puts expiring that day and made like 1,000% on the trade. It was a monster trade. But here, let me see if I can find his tweets from last week about the or on Friday about this.
I was looking at SVXY on Friday, and I did not see the spread was too far apart. So I didn't mess with it.
SVXY is like a lot less liquid.
Yeah, it's horrible. I'm not even going to do UVXY anymore. I've been long volatility with that, and I made nothing. And I've gone long volatility with the VIX, and I've made a ton of money. So I won't be using UVXY anymore. That thing sucks.
Yeah. Yeah, I generally stick with VXX. So here's this tweet from him. Called out VXX live on FinTwat when it was up 500%. Said it has another 500% to go, and it went. Magical Fridays do happen.
Yeah.
So he
that was
did,
a good trade.
by the way. He actually,
I was looking at the same one, but yeah, that's awesome that he took that trade. Oh yeah, that guy. Yeah. I've seen him.
Yeah, he used to have the Tasmanian Devil as his icon. I'm not sure who this is. Some TV sitcom looking character, I guess.
Yeah, that's Roper, Mr. Roper from Three's Company.
Okay. These guys with the cartoon characters, man, it's just so silly. So, what he got was the 1550 puts, and he got it at essentially at the high of the day, made over 1,000% on it, and by the way, where he first put the trade on, he's tweeting out along the way as it goes, rooting for it. But look at this right here. He's just like VXX. The first one he puts out was even earlier than that. It was right here. I think this
what
is where
was
he put the
he
trade
was in
on.
at 3 cents?
Yeah. I don't know how many contracts he had, but like this is where he put the trade on. He says, "Come on, VIX, show us you care." and it has, look at the timestamp, dude.
Remember, I'm there's a lag here.
Okay, so the timestamp is I think it's 11:21 Eastern time. So I'm Central time, so it's showing me the time in Central. And if you look at the intraday chart of VIX, like that's where it that's where the VIX was at its peak.
Right.
And so I think this is where he put the trade on, even though he didn't call out the trade. That's my suspicion about it. So anyway, monster trade from that guy.
Nice.
Yeah. Now we need to talk about how this ties in with the dollar, because a lot of people are going to be trying to war game this out too, not just us. So I want to have a view, and I'll tell you what I think. So do you want to talk about levels on this chart though before I start tying this in with the dollar?
Which chart?
The
what I got up now?
The one you got up, VIX, yeah.
Sure. There's a purple dotted line on the bottom. There's a purple dotted line up here on the top. Those are your main ones that you need to watch. As you can see, I have some like a channel looking thing going on.
Yeah.
It blew through that.
So a rising channel.
Yeah, that needs to move up. So I'm going to do that now.
Okay.
There. That goes there.
So can you call out prices when you're pointing? So you're looking at a rising channel that right now is between 24 and 30, basically.
Yeah, yeah. The main thing you have to see here with the VIX is that it's not following this blue dotted line anymore. It's rising above it. You see
Okay,
what I
yeah.
mean here?
So it's
The the
ramping.
the
Yeah.
the, the lows are increasing more and more. So that's a very good sign that we're going to have more volatility. We gapped up today, or on the open of the overnight futures for Sunday to 22. We're now at down 5 on the S&P. We were at I think break even around on the Nasdaq, and now we're down. Well, we were down 120. We're now down 109. And the
Wow.
Nikkei,
So that's a big reversal because it was a gap up.
yeah, and the Nikkei. Well, I thought it was flat, but anyway, the Nikkei over in Japan,
It was up 2% at the Sunday night open.
it's now down 235.
What?
Yeah.
Oh
So
wow, I'm seeing this too. Yeah. Oh wow, Nasdaq minus 1% right now.
I don't have percentages
Okay.
up on
Yeah.
my
Here,
quote board.
let me pop this up on FinViz. So that's really nasty. So a big gap up at the Sunday night open. It gapped up here and ran up, and then now it's actually down 1% on the Nikkei. I mean that's big volatility. I mean that falls in line with what you were saying.
Right.
So the VIX index is now green, 1.5%. S&P 500 is now red. And by the way, like I got some at the money puts on Friday near the close,
Uh-huh.
and I had to keep rolling up higher in strikes
I
because
used
it kept going up. But I'm like, dude, the way that the volatility sucked out of this thing and made those puts so cheap that I couldn't resist.
before margins went crazy, I used to love trading the Nikkei 225.
All right,
The
I got your
NKD.
chart back up, Chris.
All right, so I did a little adjusting here. I put it on a daily and I zoomed in. So you see this big red bar. That's a nice outside day, which, outside days mean a lot more volatility is coming in. I I don't really like that the wave is not expressing the volatility that we're seeing. So to me, this market is still confused. And this 310 over here is you see how you see this volatility here back by the October of last year, and then you have more volatility over here in
Yeah, and
January of
that
this
was
year.
the GameStop actually was the driver for that spike. Like it
The
was literally
January.
correlated with GameStop being above like 300 and going up,
You talking about
100%
January?
in the overnight session and stuff like that. Like that was what was causing that
Are you talking about
volatility, that
January?
specific volatility spike.
Are you talking about January?
Yeah, the January one, the late January. Yep.
Okay. What I noticed with GameStop was as money flowed into GameStop, it flowed out of other companies and went
Yeah. Oh
into
yeah, and you know what? That's still happening.
yeah.
So GameStop had that big spike up. What like not this week, but the week before, right?
Yeah.
I had that monster trade on that one where I bought I think something for 70 cents that turned into being worth like it was like 100 times as much at one point or more.
Nice.
It was
That's
crazy
great.
on GameStop
Yeah.
because all the implied volatility went out of it. And so as soon as I saw it breaking out, I went in there with like a short dated like right before expiration call
Hmm.
position, and it really spiked up higher, and money sucked out of everything else as that spiked. So it's just like what you're saying,
Right.
and that dynamic is still live because GameStop is not softened, and in fact, it's actually like slowly ratcheting higher.
Right.
And so I think that that's another destabilizing force in this market. But ultimately, the biggest force is the dollar. So we could talk about the tapering that people are talking about.
Not done with VIX yet.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
So you see back here in August where it started rising up and then popped,
Yep,
and then you have this channel. It starts rising up and then popped. Well,
yep.
you're getting the same thing here. You're getting that rising up, but this is even more volatile than these other compression days or
Oh, I see
consolidation
what you
days.
mean. It's a
Or
lot choppier going into this rise.
right.
So
So
there's a range expansion happening lower down on the chart. Okay, great observation.
right. So I wanted to go back to here. You see that? How choppy that is right there?
Yeah.
That's what's got me eyeing.
So you're looking at in January of 2020, a similar choppiness.
Right, February. But
Okay,
yeah,
okay, yeah, early February
end
then.
of January, beginning of February.
Yeah,
Right
2020.
before we blew through the roof and almost went 100 VIX.
Yeah.
So
That was wild, man. That was crazy.
it was, and that's the choppiness that I'm looking at with that upward expansion. The
Yep.
only problem is that it died down and then it exploded. Um, I don't
Yeah.
know that you're going to get the die down here. You might not, but that's what I'm keeping my eye on is that symmetry of that choppiness with the upward expansion. All right.
Yeah. Okay. Really great observations. And so that kind of dovetails to what about 2 weeks ago you called it out, a similar pattern you saw in the dollar, where the dollar kind of got tight but choppy in a block
Yeah.
on the chart, and you said, "Hey, that looks like a similar looking period where it kind of like bottomed out and made like a major low." And
Uh,
so, can we talk about the USD now? Because I think that
yeah, I'm going to pull it up
yeah, there's
here,
a
right?
big driver going on right now, and I don't think it's going to play out the way that a lot of people are talking about. They think that
What do they think?
the central bank doing Operation Twist kind of thing, where they essentially sell short dated bonds to buy long dated bonds. Here's the
Yeah.
problem with that: is
I
it's gonna
thought the Fed poo-pooed that.
well, they did, but here's what's going to happen though: if they don't step in and start buying bonds,
Yeah.
there's going to they could see the long term bond market go no bid. Want to know why?
Mm.
Because all this stimulus.
But the dollar's rising on that stimulus.
Exactly. You want to know why it's rising? Because people are anticipating that the Fed is going to have to do yield curve control, that they're going to have to, one way or another, they're going to have to buy longer dated bonds. And probably what that means is they'll be selling shorter dated bonds. And so even though they're not going to raise like the federal funds rate, probably, it'll be somewhat longer duration stuff they have in their portfolio, longer than 3 months. I think I anticipate they'll be selling that stuff and buying stuff further out. So,
When was the last time they did Operation Twist? What was
I don't
2012?
remember the exact dates, but that would be a good thing to know. So they really have a Zero Hedge article pointed this out, that they have two options. One is the yield curve control, and the other is to increase the quantitative easing, which essentially means like increasing the quantity of what it is that they're buying. So the yield curve control, what that's about is it's about altering the duration of what it is they're buying instead of changing the amount of what they're buying. So these are kind of the two different options that people are looking at. And if they do the yield curve control, the nice thing about that is they're not increasing the quantity of what they're buying, so it's a little less inflationary, right? Well, that's deflationary. So if they do that, the problem is that yields on the short-term stuff is going to rise in order
Okay.
so that the Fed can make sure that there's a bid for the longer-term stuff, a bid at all. Because if you look at TLT, it's in free fall.
Yeah.
And so, think about this. Why would the dollar be strengthening? If the Fed was going to do a yield curve control, or if they were going to, even if it's not the Fed doing it, even if it's like pension funds or something, even if they're the ones who do it, if they sell off their shorter dated stuff and buy the longer dated bonds, it pushes short rates up. And what do short rates do? They choke off the economy. When
Guess
short rates rise, it's like it's moving the yield curve into a more inverted state, from a less inverted state to a more inverted state.
guess
And
when Operation Twist was last done?
okay, let's take a look.
2011.
Hey, by the way, we got a couple of comments. Spody Jr. says, "You two are great. Thanks, guys. Awesome. Appreciate the comment."
No, thank you very much.
Yeah. And then let's see here. Puts this week. I was not shaken by the rally. All right, Michael Irizarry has some puts. I also have puts.
All right, sweet.
Yeah. All right. Go ahead, Chris. You were gonna look at where the
Yeah,
Operation Twist.
2011. I thought it was 2012, but it was 2011,
Okay.
which lines up with the last, quote end quote epidemic scare that we had.
Yeah. So the chart you're looking at is the dollar.
Yeah, and I don't see anything that's unless we're doing this part of it right here. We're currently in this part of the downfall of the dollar.
Well, that's in 2010, right?
It's right before 2011. Twist was right about
It probably is right there where your cursor is, right there
here.
near the end of it. Because if
September
you think about
of
the
11.
timing of when the European financial crisis was, it was leading up to, like, I think it reached the frenzy in October or November of 2011.
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, it's hard to say, but I mean, the point I want to make is a lot of people are saying that yield curve control would be good for stocks. I don't think that. I think yield curve control is going to be bad for stocks. They may be thinking that
Okay.
because the Fed is buying the longer dated bonds, that it makes them less attractive, and so people are going to put their money in stocks instead. But
Right.
I think that maybe under yeah. Hang on, keep your chart right there because that's what
Right
I
here?
wanted to talk about
Yeah, sure.
on the dollar. So I see a cup and handle, and it's not like a stock chart cup and handle, okay? Where a stock chart cup and handle, you want to see that like on top of already a price rise. And on this, it looks like a bottom pattern where we're seeing like a major low, and we see the chart transition from making lower highs and lower lows. It transitions to start making higher highs and higher lows.
Yeah.
And just in the last 2 days, this is a daily chart. Just in the last 2 or 3 days, you see the breakout to a new higher high, which reaches above the one from February.
Right.
And so,
I could get rid of this one now because I predicted that. Well, as you could see, I drew my prediction, so I will get rid of that one because that came true. So now I think it's going to get up to here.
yeah, that's like a short-term target right there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so dollar strength, that's that black hole appearing in the sky and starts sucking everything off the surface of the planet, right? Like in that Rick and Morty episode where the giant head appears or whatever. Like
Don't
that's
know what
the
you're
dollar
talking about.
strength, man. Just think of it just like that. And
Okay.
so, it's if the dollar continues to be strong, it's going to do things like break down the rally in crude. It's going to do things like
Should have done that a while ago.
break the fall in TLT. And it can put us into another situation where we see a VIX spike that those typically will, they go into the 40s typically. So not always.
Right.
But a lot of the time they'll go into the 40s before, it's really sort of reached it's played out.
Yeah.
But that's if it's a shakeout in a bull market. If it really turns into a bear market, which this might be doing, then it's you can't just say, okay, time to get all along again because VIX hit 45.
Don't
It's
go
not that
long.
simple.
Don't go long. I would not. I mean, if you're going to do anything, if you're afraid, sit out. But I don't think we're going to go much higher, especially after we have a gap up and that gets decimated.
Well, yeah, this could be a driver for lower stock prices. It could be a sustained driver for lower stock prices if the dollar continues to be strong. And I
Hmm.
mean, we've seen all the signs of like a euphoric mania, like with the SPACs and the Tesla, the electric vehicle craze, the Bitcoin craze, like
Right.
all those, even the marijuana stuff, like all those signs of euphoria were there. So these dip buyers eventually they get rug pulled over and over and over again, and
Yeah.
it's just that's generally just kind of how these things work.
The good thing is that they're right 80% of the time. So,
Yeah,
they
and
make
that guy
theirs.
Quarry Rock, he talks about this. He says he's got a term called elevator down theory or EDT. He calls it,
Hmm.
and what elevator down theory is those grinders who are just like they're essentially diamond handing long shares or call options or whatever. And they're
Right.
doing it over long periods of time. And what he's saying is like if you're super tactical and you take a short view, that
Hmm.
you can make all the same amount of money that these people made on the way up. You can
Hmm.
make it on the way down only in 20% of the time or even
Exactly.
less.
Yeah.
And
I've
so
been saying that for I don't know how long.
yeah,
You did shorts, short opportunities don't come very often, but when they do and you capitalize on them, you could make just as much money as a long in a quarter of the time.
yeah. And maybe even more because the changes in implied volatility that happen with
Hmm.
a panic or a collapse
Yeah.
like that could play into the bear's favor also.
Oh yeah, it adds tons of premium.
Yeah, like for example, like to put on a similar Tesla trade this week, like what I did last week, I
Hmm.
have to go more than 100 points out. I was looking at this on Saturday. I have to go like 150 points out to put on the same trade. So I didn't put it on, or I don't plan to put it on Monday because it's not as juicy.
But
Like I'm gonna wait for it to either spike up or just wait for it to give a really clean chart entry. Um, so yeah, I mean this dollar strength is should be troubling for anyone who's long stocks.
well, I went long TLT and I went short the XLF on Friday.
Ooh, interesting. Those are almost the same trade.
They are the same trade.
Yeah.
So the reason, and I just want to bounce off of this dollar real quick, and I want to go over to the XLF because they're kind of similar.
Okay. Yeah. Let's do that. And by the way, don't let me end the stream without going over a few of the like stronger looking stocks I'm looking at getting long. I
Yeah,
want to at
sure.
least go through a few of those because I like to have some longs on and some shorts.
Right.
Just generally, that's
I don't know that you could see the double top here, so I'm going to put this on a 4 hour.
okay.
So if you go here, actually now it's triple top. Um,
Yeah.
I went long towards the end of the business day on Friday. So this is what I'm looking at. This right there.
Yeah. So you probably have like a pretty tight stop.
Mental stop.
Yeah. I don't use like stops at the broker either. For me. It's always a mental stop.
I believe that in options, they see stops as an opportunity.
Yeah, well, you don't want your option to sell as a market order.
Yeah. So, what am I doing here? I am getting rid of this, and I'm getting rid of this, just so you could see a little bit better. All right, so this is it was a double top, now it's a triple top, and my goal is to get to a 50 or a 6.8. So the 50 is here, and the 6.8 is here. Not
Okay.
much of a difference, but I think this is probably my safest bet. That one right there. So let me get rid of this now.
Okay.
That would be my goal. How
Okay, so
long?
there's your target.
Right, that's my target, and my time frame
Yeah,
is
I like
going.
the risk reward on that
Whoops.
because you don't have to let it go up very much to know that, like, hey, you could just stand aside, let it go as high as it's going to go, and then get back in if you still like the trade. And the target is far enough away that you can make some real money out of it.
If it does what I would like it to do,
Yeah.
I expect it to take everything back by uh right around the monthly, March monthly,
Okay.
and that's my trade.
Yeah, so about 2 weeks out.
Yep.
Okay.
So that's now that brings me to the silver.
Yeah, and
Uh
you were saying earlier that gold looks really weak. I think it was before we started the stream. I want to
oh,
talk about that because I did address that all on Saturday's show.
it looks horrible.
Yeah, so I mean, silver is show it looks a lot stronger. Gold has looked weak for
So
a long time. Like I don't have any gold miners. I
a
don't have any
while,
gold. And you know what I
yeah,
may do is I actually talked about using very short dated GDXJ puts or put
uh-huh.
spreads to hedge the long dated out of the money silver miner calls I've been buying.
Oh,
And what I'll do is I'll use proceeds from that, like if those hit, I'll use
uh-huh.
the wins from that to roll down and strike on my silver miner calls.
Okay.
So what that does is strengthens my position.
Nice.
Because by moving down in strike but keeping the same calendar, it means I have less time decay, and because it's
Hmm.
far out on the calendar, there's not a whole lot of time decay to begin with.
Right. Is that silver I see up on the chart?
Yeah, SI. Yeah,
No,
that's silver.
that looks like that triple top I just had on XLF.
Well, it's not near the top though.
No, I'm saying on your on what you're broadcasting out right now.
Oh, yeah. It'll catch up. Yep, there you go. Now it's caught up.
All right, cool. So a while back, John and I were talking about silver, and John was bullish silver, and I was concerned about this double top right here, here, and here.
Yep. And you're
So
right. I mean, it has not gone back up to challenge that high again.
right now, this plays into my dollar strength and my XLF deal I got going on over here. I truly believe that this is going to test the 6-1 this green line right here, which is
Ooh.
20 ish.
That's a lot lower, but you know what? Dollar strength will do that. It'll do that kind of thing.
I don't see any reason why, and it's below the 50-day, and it's trending down below the 8 and the 5-day.
Yeah.
And I'm not
It's
really
going to be below moving averages soon. Like
I'm not seeing why it's I don't see the catalyst for silver to go up, because silver has been following. Whoops, didn't mean to do that. Silver's been following um, the market. When the market goes up, silver goes up. When the market goes down, silver goes down. And I don't understand that correlation. It makes no sense to me. And if silver continues to go down, then it's, I guess, due to that correlation, it's also safe to say that the market is going to go down. But now that I'm done with silver, I wanted to show that double top. Let's go to your gold that you were just talking about,
yeah.
and
So
I'll let you
yeah,
hit up
gold's
gold.
looking weak. Because it's so far away from the highs now. And so silver was holding up on a relative basis much stronger than gold. But if this
Right.
continues, then people who have silver may switch out of the silver and into gold, and eventually that'll like slow down the rise in gold. I mean, the big tell for me was when we had that big silver breakout like 3 weeks ago or whatever it was. And the big
Uh-huh.
tell that something was wrong on that rally is that gold wasn't following it.
Right.
And now gold's not following silver. In fact, it may be easier for the people who are, let's say, trying to control the prices of the metals,
Mm-hmm.
that it may be easier for them to mark gold around than silver right now. I mean, there's definitely something going on with tightness in the physical market of silver, but I've seen that
Right.
before, and it generally doesn't last. And the silver stackers, like if they were gonna be able to squeeze the price just from their own behavior, their own activity, it would have
Mm-hmm.
already happened by now.
Right.
Now it could be that like cryptocurrencies coming along when they did really kind of maybe distracted the public and the hard money people enough to maybe buy more time for the system for when it comes to a precious metals perspective.
Hmm.
I mean, I really think that did kind of play out in a way that was lucky for the people who like to control these metals prices and force them lower. But I mean, eventually, look, if they keep the prices so low for so long, what'll happen is like the miners aren't going to be coming up with more because there's no price signal from the market saying that they should be expanding their business. And so
Hmm.
eventually that catches up. That's why it's a cyclical, right?
Right.
So, when that happens, I don't know. Like we're seeing big strength in things like the silver miners and the like Cameco, the uranium miners.
Well, let's take a
But
look at cyclical. I'm going to add a study here. Wait a minute. It's no fib. I want to add a fib.
well, if where I'm going with this though, Chris, is like the driver for silver to go higher. Here's what it is: a tech bust because that's counter cyclical tech and silver.
Uh-huh.
And we've had such a monster tech run and for so long that like if it really is busting, then the counter cyclical on that is silver.
Okay, that ain't working. All right. I
And
just wanted to see
so
something.
by the way, like in this space, you probably would
Uh-huh.
have done best going into copper miners. If
Ooh,
you
what
want
is
if you were
copper
going
doing?
into mining or like hard commodities or that kind of space, the copper miners is really where
Wow.
the investors made out
That's
big.
like 2008 numbers right there
What's that?
on
What catches
copper.
your eye?
Copper.
Oh yeah, I mean the move is huge off the March.
Dude, that's 2008, 2011, and now here.
Yeah, and the
That
move off the
copper
March
is
low. I mean it's just
screaming.
almost straight line up.
Wow, copper is screaming. We're in trouble.
Yeah, well, it's some people have said that one of the reasons for this running higher is the electrification of everything, and I never really
And
thought of it like that. But copper
no,
going into electric vehicles and things like that. I mean, I saw a Tesla today in St. Louis, but like I could go 2 weeks without seeing one. It's hard to
now
believe that stock is like in the top 10 for market cap.
I'm looking at the '05, '06 market turmoil. I'm looking at the '08, '09 market turmoil. I'm looking at the 2011, 2012 market turmoil. And all these times, copper's peaked. And now here we are. We're in
Yeah, it
2021.
looks like it's maybe now in a contracting range, and if it breaks lower, it may break the back of this bull run in copper miners.
I don't know. It seems to be signaling something
Yeah,
else.
I mean, like it's hard to pick these metals. Like if you got palladium at the right time, you did great. If you got like a brother or sister or sibling metal, you didn't do hardly anywhere near as well.
Right,
Similar with with copper and some of these industrial ones. If you pick the right one for the right run, it's a monster.
right.
Okay, so hang on. Let us know when you got
I
something you want to talk
I
through.
just looked. I wanted to look at something real quick. All
Okay,
right, so I guess this would be the next in the progression.
TLT. Yeah. So my read
Unless
on
you want
this
to,
is, at some point the market itself is the market is self correcting here because if interest rates go high enough, then investor dollars will come out of other things and into these long term government bonds. I mean,
Mhm.
right now it's trading like it's going bidless, but I called it out on a trading homework a couple of nights ago. I think you were on the show at that time that the TLT had a yield of 1.5%, and SPY had a yield of 1.53%.
Okay.
And so if I'm looking at, well, what kind of forward returns can I expect? Well, with a market that's so overheated right now for stocks, I mean, probably you have better prospects for bonds. The one thing getting in the way of that is the government spending spree because of COVID. And so at some point maybe that slows down, but maybe not.
Uh-huh.
Like the stimulus bills and stuff like that. Like when are those going to stop happening?
Right.
We've had three. How many more are there going to be?
You mean stimulus?
Yeah. And it doesn't even have to be stimulus in the same way. It could be like, just big government spending.
Oh God, they do that all the time.
Yeah, or like big bailout packages, if some banks get into trouble or ARC puts people in trouble.
Well, I think there's going to be, well, now that we've done all the stimulus or close to it, the next round of spending is going to be the bailouts.
Right, new bailouts. So,
Yeah.
where's that going to come from? Well, one place it could come from is GameStop, and that thing is still elevated. And so the concern that people have is because of the way settlement works, and they cannot change this fast enough, is the DTCC. They essentially warehouse all of the stock certificates. And so when people do trading in their accounts, that all gets netted out and sent to the DTCC every night. And
Right.
within 2 days later, the stock certificates are sorted and put where they need to be. And
Right.
it's a process that takes time. Well, the brokers actually have to post collateral for certain situations where these certificates have moved around. And so what Robinhood ran into was that they had to post from their own pocket collateral for some of these trades to get it through settlement. Once it was settled, then they get their collateral back, right?
Uh-huh.
Well, Robinhood didn't have enough money,
Right.
and so it's not just Robinhood. Like there's a little bit more going on here to cause instability than just the brokerage perspective. It's also the short sellers and the people selling call options and things like that. If that gets out of hand, people were saying that there was essentially a ladder, and the higher that the GameStop share price went, it blows up new players on the ladder. And so people keep talking about Melvin, and Melvin has not blown up yet. They've been getting cash infusions from, I think it was Citadel.
Mm-hmm.
Or, they're getting loans from Citadel or whatever, so they can essentially make it through the short squeeze. But if it goes up enough, then Melvin blows up. If Melvin blows up, then next is the next player to have a problem is Citadel, and then if Citadel blows up, like what's above them? I think it's BlackRock. And they were saying that in order to blow up, they were saying at $300 it blows up Citadel. Well, it got to 300 and Citadel almost blew up.
Mm-hmm.
They were saying that at $500, 300 would blow up Melvin, 500 would blow up Citadel, and then 1,000 would blow up BlackRock. That's what people are saying.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't know if that's true. In fact, like it must not be true because Melvin was able to get bridge loans to make it through it, so they didn't blow up.
Right.
But
well,
anyway,
they blew up. They just they got bailed.
Yeah, they got bailout loans from other market participants. But if GameStop makes another run and does a Volkswagen and really goes bonkers one more time, say it 10x's from here,
right?
Well, then maybe the government will have to step in with bailouts, or else they're just gonna let dominoes keep falling over till they're done falling over.
I'm getting tired of these fucking bailouts from the government for all these hedge funds. I'm really getting sick of it.
Yeah, it's crazy because you and I aren't going to get bailed out.
No, we make a mistake, we're screwed.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous. So anyway, on this TLT, I'm looking at the 618, and it was trending there for a little while in 2019, from July all the way out until middle of December, and then it took off like a rocket. And I think that was when the scuttlebutt started with the oh no, that was late 2020. No, that was 2019. That's when the virus chatter first started.
Right.
In middle of December of 2019.
Yeah.
And then that took off like a rocket. So we've come full circle all the way back down. The market took it all back, and we're back down to 138.91, which is at the 618, where the TLT consolidated for that half a year in 2019.
When you say
Like,
618, you're talking about a fib retracement, right?
right, right.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
The 61.8. The golden number.
Okay, yeah.
So I believe strongly that we're not going any lower than this. I,
Okay,
I,
yeah. I see like kind of a confluence or like a convergence of factors coming into play here. One is those lows from that you're calling out in November of 2019, that sort of support zone there.
mm-hmm,
Yeah, and the price wasn't actually trading at that level back then, but nevertheless, it still may provide some kind of support. The reason is because a lot of these charts are like back dividend adjusted. I don't know if this one is or isn't.
I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, it probably is. Like a lot of these charts, they back adjust for dividends. But yeah, and then if you look too, when the stimulus bill hit in March of 2020, this thing snapped down hard. That was the stimulus that did
Yeah,
that, and
yeah,
it hit kind of near the levels where it is right now.
yeah. It's definitely a support.
So it's been a couple of weeks since I put on the back spread trade for April expiration. And so I've had a little bit of time decay out of it, and it has fallen in price a little bit, a couple of
Mm-hmm,
points, and so I've rolled down in strike. But I mean, I'm still carrying a back spread that gives me long exposure to TLT. Like if it explodes higher, that
mm-hmm.
trade could be worth a fortune. However, the clock is ticking, so I'm kind of weighing my choices here about if I essentially roll out on the calendar into another back spread.
Uh-huh,
The one I have is a ratio back spread, which is pretty aggressive. The time decay is higher on a
uh-huh.
ratio back spread.
Okay. That's not good.
Yeah, but I mean, it's got a lot of time on it already. Like, we're still 2 weeks out till the March expiration, I think, right?
Yeah.
I'm
I
pretty
bailed
sure.
on my Aprils. I bailed on all my TLTs and I got out and I just got back in on Friday
Yeah, well, because it didn't have follow
because
through,
I didn't
so it
like
was
the
a
way it
good
was.
move to do what you play it how you did.
Yeah, it was a great move. Then it just sucked ass after that.
Yeah. Well,
So anyway,
so what's nice
um,
about structuring this as a back spread is when the price drops, then I just roll down on strikes, and it didn't
mhm,
really cost me anything but the time decay, which I was going to pay anyway.
right. What day is
So
this?
I
The
mean, we
fifth.
could we
Okay.
could walk through a ratio back spread, or we can move on and look at. So I mean, I think it's good to have long exposure to TLT here, uh,
Yeah. Me too.
for a lot of reasons.
Yep.
We've already talked about a lot of those reasons.
Oh yeah. So what are we on to next?
Well, I want to look at Palantir, PLTR. So this is on my list of stocks that like actually kind of held up pretty good.
Let me get rid of that. You want me to stay on the daily?
Yeah, because I mean this is what I'm looking at, but we should zoom in too and look at like a 30-minute chart or 30-minute bars or something also.
How about an hour?
All right.
Yeah, it looks
And
a
the
little
reason I
better.
like looking at these zoomed in charts also is because a lot of things like little cup and handle patterns aren't even really visible on the daily chart anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You used to see them on daily charts all the time, and now you got to zoom in to find them.
Let me get out of this and go to. Let me see here. That. Okay. There we
All
go.
right. So what I like about this is that it's at a level that has held as support many times in the past, and if this is, it's not so far away from the. I mean, I guess it is pretty far off the highs, but it's in a range right now that like maybe it's okay to get back into this one. This actually looks better than a lot of the other charts in this space to me right now. And part of it's a risk to reward trade. It's like it just had that flush to the downside, and it's back, and now it's back into the range.
Right.
And
This is
so if
an
you think
hourly, by
about
the
it,
way.
if it's making like a rounding bottom, then that probably was the bottom on this stock.
Mm-hmm.
But if there's a Nasdaq bust, like a .com bust kind of thing going on, then there's nothing going to save this one either.
Right. Yeah. I don't like that it hasn't. You see how it's dipped down all the way down into the one standard deviation, but it hasn't popped up except for back in February, mid-February.
Yeah.
That's got me a little concerned on this one. But other than that, I don't know. This is an hourly chart, so it's a little difficult to say.
Yeah, and so I think from a daily chart point of view, maybe it looks like you could put a little position on in it, but
Let me go
I mean,
to
it's okay to wait too.
4 hour.
You know, people are talking about like William O'Neill follow through days. And I'm thinking, like, you know, guys, the VIX didn't even flip into an uptrend yet. You know, like, how could there be a follow through day already? Like, maybe because was the Nasdaq down 10% or something? I mean, I don't know.
From the highs, I think the Nasdaq is down 10%.
Yeah, so maybe that's why they start looking for follow through days. But really, what they're saying is the market makes a low, and then I think like on the fourth day later, it's off of the low, you get like a ferocious rally and on big
Right.
volume. And that's where you'd look to buy leaders on breakouts. Well, this thing isn't really in a base. The bet I'd be making here is that it's in the bottom of what becomes a base.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? So that's
Yeah.
what my eye sees here.
It's pretty close to that second two standard deviation right there. It's pretty close.
Yeah, so I'm not super excited about it, but this is one of the stronger looking ones. I mean, I looked through a lot of stocks lately.
hmm
I mean,
I think volatility is going to be the strength.
oh
to be honest
yeah,
with
I
you.
mean it can be. I follow this guy on Twitter that he went heavy into TVIX in
Uh-huh.
like late February of 2020.
Uh-huh.
And I mean, like with big money, dude. And
Yeah.
he ran that account up like 20 or 30 fold or something like that. I mean, it was nuts.
hmm
It was nuts. And I mean, I don't know how he's done lately, but I mean, that was a super move. I mean, he was in the right thing at the right time, and he held with diamond hands. And I was trying to convince him, you know, like at the market bottom, I was like, dude, it's about time to cash in that crash insurance, buddy.
Hey, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
So I use the HYG to see where the yield is going.
Okay.
And HYG has been trending down. But last week I hear these clowns on TV saying that the yield is up. And I'm like, no, it's not. It's down. It's down a lot. And
Yeah, I mean the yield is still really tight. I mean, you know, those
So
high yield
what
credit spreads have not really blown out yet.
is there another yield that they're looking at other than one that I'm looking at here?
No, I don't think so, man. And here's what it is. It's all the
So what,
energy stocks that are in there that
what
are
bullshit are they spreading?
I'm not sure what they're talking about. I mean, the yields were only up like a tiny little bit on HYG
Yeah.
over the last 2 weeks cuz I've had puts on that thing the whole time.
Right. So I'm
And
trying to figure out what are you guys trying to kill the freaking TLT? Are you
you know
trying
what
to
it
kill the
could
20
be,
year?
Chris? If you were watching that show at the market low on Friday,
Uh-huh.
or maybe the market low on Thursday, like
Right.
if that's when they came on and they were saying that, it is true that you know the price of HYG did drop kind of hard temporarily, but it's really sticky. Like
No, they were
you've seen
saying
that
it was
movie The
up.
Big Short, right?
HYG was up. That's what
Well,
they were saying. Not HYG. They were just saying that the yields were up.
yeah, the yields were up like just slightly. I don't know why they would be calling that out.
Oh, they were calling new highs, and I'm like, well, are you fucking kidding me?
On the yields.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I know. That's why I could. And this was Bloomberg. It's not like it was CNBC or Yahoo or
Yeah, that's bizarre. I mean, with HYG, here's what I expect is like when the yields finally start rising on that thing, they're gonna rise like shockingly fast. It's gonna be like that movie The Big Short
uh-huh.
when it happens, and it will happen. I'm not saying it's gonna happen again soon, but dollar strength is gonna kill the high yield bond funds. Just you know, it takes a little time. You have to be
Right.
patient. Like when the yield curve starts inverting. A lot of times it takes 6 months for that to leak over into the stock world and really cause damage to stocks.
Right.
I mean, it's actually really common that the yield curve inversion
Uh
does
huh.
not really hammer stocks right away, but that 6 month there's a 6 month lead time, and then things just fall apart like
Yeah, I
really
remember from the
fast.
last inversion we had that it took a while.
Yeah, they started raising rates in 2019.
Was it 19 or
I
was
think
it
it was
18?
19. Yeah, I think they raised it like a couple of times, or maybe it was 2018, and then we had the Christmas panic, and then they had to stop. Maybe that's when it
Yeah,
was.
it was 2018, and
Yeah,
then
you're right.
Powell,
That's when
who
it
said
was.
that they weren't going to stop, um,
Yeah,
uh,
they only got like what through 2 or 3 hikes,
yeah.
and then we
Well, it
got
wasn't only
that puke
that;
into Christmas.
they were also doing the spreadsheet, not the spreadsheet, the balance sheet.
Yeah,
They were doing the balance sheet and rates at the same time, and
yeah,
then they just completely reversed on the drop of a dime.
yeah. Oh yeah, that was crazy. I was long VXX pretty
Uh huh.
big going into Christmas in 2018.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it was going to turn into a home run, and it didn't. I mean, that reversal on a dime you're talking about, that was an example where like financial conditions really could have spiraled out of control, and we could have had a crash, kind of like the COVID crash. If we
Yeah,
did, then the COVID crash wouldn't have been as bad. That's the irony of it.
I got my head handed to me in 2019 on
Yeah,
that reversal.
yeah. Oh, yeah. When the market like turned around and rallied really hard into early 2019.
Oh yeah,
Me too.
yeah,
It was.
yeah,
I got hammered on that too.
yeah. That was a rip your face off, melt your face off. I was like, "Are you freaking kidding me, pal?"
Yeah, it was that was bizarre. But
I don't
I
know.
mean and you know what else is really weird about it too
Hmm.
is the VIX got to 38. The VIX index got to 38 on that drop. It
Right,
did not get into the 40s. And so that was kind of an outlier data point. So if you look at, those kind of panics, by the time they're that bad, they almost always the VIX gets into the 40s.
right.
And so because it didn't that time, I reversed like really, really late. I mean, I surrendered like most of my profits from the short side.
Right.
So pretty frustrating, but it happens sometimes.
I since I started in 2015, I've yet to see anything like that. I mean, it was a long, short 3 years, but that was just nuts.
Yeah, it was. It was a one way move off the low of on Christmas.
And he's like, nope, we're not going to stop. That's it. We're not going to stop. We're not going to stop.
Yeah, well, Mark Minervini, right? Do you follow him?
No, actually, I blocked him.
Oh no.
I
Well,
can't stand that
he's a
guy.
great trader, and he calls it a
Well,
lockout rally, is what he calls that.
uh-huh.
Yeah, that's his word for it, a lockout rally.
What I don't know what that means.
Well, it's a rally that just keeps going and doesn't give anyone a chance to get in on a dip.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he calls that a lockout rally. I think it's a neat term for it.
Yeah, I don't like him at all. Sorry,
All right. Well, I mean,
Mark.
I don't know why. Maybe there's a beef between you guys or whatever. I mean,
No,
to
I
me,
just
it's a little weird. Like, why is he so interested in educating other traders? Like that to me is a little weird. Like, it's I don't
mm,
know.
I don't even at this point I don't even remember why I blocked him, but I remember he annoyed the shit out of me a few times, and I'm like, that's it. I don't want this guy showing up in my feed anymore.
Yeah.
So
Well, I
I
mean, there's
just
nothing
blocked
wrong
him.
with blocking people. That's what it's for.
Yeah.
So we looked at Palantir. We already talked about Square. The other two I have on my list are marijuana stocks. Oh, and Fizz. Can we talk about Fizz next?
Yeah, sure, why not?
All right. So remember in the beginning of the show, I held up this Lacroix. It's so refreshing. I finished it almost right away. It was so yummy.
Okay.
So I'm trying these out. This one is the Pama Baya apple cranberry flavor. I just got the Costco mix pack,
Uh-huh.
and
Oh,
I like having
that's
these instead of
sinfully
Trulies
ugly.
sometimes. But this stock was the strongest stock on my radar during
Uh-huh.
the worst of the panic on Friday.
Okay.
And if you look at close to the top of the day, it was never even really down. And this stock was up 10% plus. And so I got in.
Uh-huh.
But the way I got into this one, I think it was just with an out of the money call. I don't remember exactly what trade I put on, which that sounds bad, but I mean I wasn't paying that close attention. But I'm like, this is the only good thing going right now that I can
Hmm.
see.
Right.
GameStop's looking pretty strong, but
This
I
looks
like Fizz. I don't know that enough implied volatility has come out of Fizz to put on like a swoosh position like I normally do.
let me see
I
what
still
they're
have
priced
a
at.
swoosh position in Fisker. I might have put a swoosh position on in this. I don't remember.
Oh, they don't have any weeklies. Oh God, that spread is horrible.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
wouldn't
it's
touch
super
this.
illiquid options. So I think what I did is I just bought like an out of the money call with like 6 weeks to go.
Uh-huh.
It just did one of those kind of things. One of the ones
So
where
they
you,
just did
you
a split too.
what's that?
They just did a split.
Did they?
Yeah, 2 for 1.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess I didn't notice, but
Yeah,
I
they
don't know
just
why
did a
you're
two for
splitting
one.
your stock if it's just $100 a share.
Mm.
Maybe to try to
Maybe
get
because the
liquidity,
options
because
suck.
like you said, you look at it, it's like, where's the liquidity?
I was just gonna say maybe because your options suck balls.
Yeah, it's so weird how people are just only trading a handful of names with options that give that market any kind of depth.
Right.
So yeah,
Okay.
Fizz looked good to me. I think iRobot probably also looks pretty good.
Give me that ticker.
IRBT. I don't have a position in IRBT.
IRBT.
Yeah, and so these two are both like short squeeze candidates because there's a fairly high short position in both of these. So it's
Really?
kind of consolidating, but the problem with it is that it's already had that huge rip right there.
Uh-huh.
And so I'm giving this one more time. I love the base that it broke out of. It looked great, but it broke out from that base. It didn't really give you any time to get in, and those people who were in, they didn't even really get any stickiness to the gain.
That that action after the breakout don't look good.
Yeah, well, it's yeah, I know what you're saying. It's but nevertheless, like this stock is closer to the highs. If you chop that wick off,
Yeah.
this stock is like kind of closer to the highs compared to most other things. And the other thing is, it's not already been running up for like 6 months or 9 months or a year. Like this is a stock that like may be in a new emerging trend. That's why I'm looking at it.
Okay. I took that bar out altogether.
Okay. So yeah,
It
I don't.
still
We
don't
don't have
look
to
that
spend a
good.
whole lot of time on iRobot because that one also doesn't have weeklies either. So the other two that I
Yeah, it
wanted to
does.
talk about is marijuana
iRobot
stocks.
has weeklies.
Oh, iRobot has weeklies. Okay,
Yeah, I'm looking at it.
that could
Anyway,
be new. Maybe I confused
maybe.
it with Fizz.
So anyway, next.
Okay, so yeah, I'm waiting on this one for a base to appear. I'm not doing anything with it yet, but it's
What
it's
is
on the watch list.
Oh, you're talking about iRobot?
Yeah,
Ah.
yeah. All right, so then I'm looking at two of the marijuana stocks, and these were the two that really were the most impressive to me on the last big run that just fizzled out a couple weeks back.
Uh-huh.
So the first one, probably the most explosive one, is Tilray, and I think Tilray has the highest short position out of all of the marijuana stocks as well. But I mean, you can see the long term potential here. I like that you had the long term chart up, but yeah, like zooming out on this tells a big story. Like there's
Yeah.
prohibition going on right now in marijuana, and will the Biden Harris
That
campaign
was
or I'm sorry, the Biden Harris administration, will they
this
hold
was
true to their campaign plans to decriminalize marijuana? I don't trust them to do it, but they might.
this is when the states were starting to get lax with their marijuana stuff.
Yeah, and
That's
that
what
should show
caused
you what's
that.
possible here. I mean, imagine these marijuana companies having the same valuations as the big beer brewing companies.
Right.
Like that's I think the world that we're going into. So, the trick is to not lose money along the way in these things,
But
right?
I'm not seeing what's really going to matter, which is the hemp aspect of it, where you're going to use a lot more of the plant. You know what I mean? I mean, great, CBDs are nice and all that. But if you're going to start making hemp clothing then yeah, I could see.
Well, do they have that? I think they have that already, don't they?
Uh,
I don't know.
I don't see it. I don't see it showing up in a lot of retail stores. I don't see them
Yeah.
advertising it. They're still doing cotton blends. And I'm like, dude, where's all the hemp that we've been talking about? Like the 10-year shirts.
Yeah, yeah. Great point. Great point. I hadn't thought of it like that.
So,
All right. Well, you know what? That's a good thing to look into. I'm going to try and find out what it takes to get a hemp shirt.
okay.
Maybe I'll wear one on the show if I can find it.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure this is some like cotton blend I'm wearing right now.
Uh,
So I think I have like a long term bullish view on this sector. I think that like this is a place where I expect a new emerging trend to happen. I mean, these things are up big off the lows, but they've
right.
already kind of like flamed out a couple weeks back. And I was in them for that a lot of that rise. Although I mean, I don't know that I had a whole ton of profits because I wasn't really early in that.
Right.
And it's the people getting in early that have the big profits. But I am looking at like, okay, do we see a new base here? Do they start to hit some of the moving averages and they start acting as support? So I'm looking at Tilray, and the other one I'm looking at is APHA, APHA. Yeah, and this one actually is the number one holding of MJ. So it's big in there.
Huh.
So anyway, these things are gonna have to like somehow figure out how they're gonna retake the highs. But I mean, it's nothing for a stock to go from $20 to $100. I mean, these things happen all the time,
Right.
and so it's stuff like this where it happens, where there's a change in the some kind of fundamental change that changes their marketplace. So here's what it could be like: if these companies can start doing banking like normal companies,
Right.
in the decriminalization stuff, like if that happens,
Mm-hmm.
it could be really good for these companies. There's a lot of people eyeing that already. And so there's a lot of money that have already moved in. I mean, this thing's up from $5. It's at, 17 right now?
Uh, 15 and
15
change.
right now? Yeah. So anyway, I think what I'm going to do is if I can catch it where the implied volatility is right and the conditions are right,
Uh-huh.
I'm going to try and catch it on like a calm day and put on swoosh positions in these. That's where I'm buying call options that are at the money 6 months out, and I'm protecting them with 3-week duration, 10% out of the money puts. If you look at it on the options simulator, it looks like a Nike swoosh symbol. So that's why I call it a swoosh position. If you're
Right.
curious about that, you can go look at Saturday's video. I actually walked through building one of those swoosh positions there.
I don't see anything that makes sense for me.
Yeah, it's one of these things where like it may build a base and it's near the low end of where that could happen. So
Right.
I don't have a whole lot of exciting stock picks in this market. I'm trying
Yeah.
to find a few things to put some longs in on, and this is
Let's
what
see
I
this.
got. Because here's what I don't want to do is like go into Tesla because it's down 50% or something, or Neo or whatever.
Right.
Or,
This one baffles me. I'm very surprised at American Express, and I can't understand why um it's ripping.
yeah, yeah, it really is. Wow.
Yeah, it's a new
Yeah, good
new
find,
all-time
man. I'm
highs.
writing that down.
That actually I was short. You could see my little blue dot.
Yeah.
That's where I was expecting it to go to, and then all of a sudden it took off like a bat out of hell
Well, if
off of
it's
that
me
pullback.
and it's making new highs, I get right
Yeah,
out, man. I'm not sitting short in something that's making new highs.
yeah.
Well, because I mean, it'll just keep right on ripping, man. Why not wait for it to like
Oh, I'm not in
give you
it.
the
I'm
sign?
not. I'm not trading it.
Yeah,
Yeah. When I lost, I think I lost 15%, and I was like, screw this.
yeah. Well, with options, that's not much. You got out quick.
Yeah, I did. Luckily.
Yeah. All right. Well, you're like me then. The instinct to run is strong.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
Can we look at
sir.
GameStop real quick?
Yeah, sure.
Because I want to be ready for that one if it moves. So it's still looking so strong, dude. It's ridiculous. It
Yeah,
looks
it'll
great. It looks
definitely.
better than
Whoops.
anything else I've looked at tonight.
It'll definitely test,
The
in
problem
my
is that the
opinion.
implied volatility is so high on it. Again, like, what do you do with this?
I don't do anything.
Yeah, well, I mean, you could do iron condors in it, but the problem is it could blow those out.
Right. I wouldn't.
So here's
Nah.
what I've been doing, Chris. I've been doing bull out of the money bull call spreads with very short dated, and I do
Right.
them when the short term chart lines up. So what I had last week was a 150 200, and that actually was a failed trade. Like, it didn't make money.
A
So
what?
I had a 150 200 expiring last Friday bull call spread.
Oh, okay. I got you. I got you.
Yeah. So what's good about that is like the 200 option.
Uh huh.
It was eroding fast. And what I look to do is if I get a chance, I'll actually like leg out and close out the option I'm short, leaving only the call if I get a chance.
Hmm.
But I'm it's really hard for me to go into this on Monday. In fact, I don't think I'm going to. Can we zoom in and look at like a 10-minute chart, 10-minute bars or something?
I could do 15.
That's fine. Yeah, 15 is good. So, I mean, it's just like it's looking strong, but it's ratcheting up like really slowly. And so I think this is going to give you time to get in if it really
Hmm.
starts running. And so probably what I'm going to do is wait till midweek, and then if I'm going to get long, put something on then with only
Volume's
2 or 3
definitely
days to go.
decreasing.
Because I made a mistake last week of getting in on the 150 200 on Tuesday, I think is when I put that on.
Uh huh.
And it just, it kind of fell apart pretty fast. Like, it ripped and then it fell apart, and I didn't get out.
Right.
And I should have. So, I mean, there are lots of these little false start, little cup and handle kind of things that look like they're about to get started. But this thing is really just ratcheting high really slowly. So it's strong. I mean, maybe buying the shares is the best thing to do. But the problem is, those shares could be down in a blink before you could even stop out on them.
Right.
I mean, it could fall, 30, 40% the next morning when you wake up at the open.
Yeah. It's extremely volatile. I don't like it.
Yeah,
You
but
can have all the fun
I
you
mean, the
want with it.
potential is so huge. Like, if this thing Volkswagens, it's nice if you could dig in.
Right.
So
Nah, I'm
anyway,
good.
it's really tricky. It's a tricky one. Well, thanks for showing the chart. It like helps me to.
Oh no, man, no
Yeah. All
worries.
right. So I got the chart up here right now. Just let this sit up here for a second, because the stream is caught up. I have to actually like click for these charts to show sometimes.
No worries. I'm
So
I'm actually
okay,
looking
you're
at my
moving on. All right,
two.
let's move
No, I'm
on.
just looking at my two favorite short stocks in tech.
Okay. I actually got puts on AMD.
Oh, that's 15. Though. Okay, there
I
we
got
go.
puts on AMD last week that expired Friday, and they went
AMD.
briefly into the money, and then
Yeah.
and then not.
Yeah, this looks like it's got some good some momentum to the downside.
Yeah,
If we breach this 73.72, we're easy going to fill this
60.
gap and the next gap,
Yeah,
in
good
my
call.
opinion.
Good call. So if we get an update on Monday, or maybe even update Monday, Tuesday, do you look to use that strength to get to position short?
Nah, I might do it opening bell.
Okay.
And the
Yeah.
reason I'm saying that is because it's looking like doo doo.
Yeah. Well, and the Nasdaq was down earlier when
My
we
quote
checked. Let me
board's
refresh.
looking real red. Sorry, what?
The Nasdaq was down earlier when we checked. It still looks
It
like it's
still
still
is.
down 1%.
Yeah, 1.122.
Yeah, which means ARC could be down like 4 or 5% at the open. If this
Dude,
sticks.
I should have took ARC short when you said it, and I didn't.
Yeah, we brainstorm so many things though. Like, it's hard to participate in all of them. It just
I
happens
know.
to be like what you see and how it's playing out. And
I know it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm looking at AMAT too, Applied
Yeah.
Materials, and I don't see any gaps. Well, let me get rid of this. That was a
Yeah,
long
well,
time ago.
this one looks strong to me. I'm not sure why you're looking at this one for a short, other than it's getting choppy. It's
It's yeah, the volatility is
yeah,
increasing.
okay, I see it now. So like,
Like we might come back up here to this
yeah, these are not tight bars. It's all over
standard
the place
deviation.
now.
Yeah, like we might test this standard deviation, but with the Nasdaq, rising tide lifts all boats. Lower tides beaches all boats. Um, I don't see why this just can't reverse. What does AMAT have got over everybody else? I don't even know what AMAT does. Like that's how I just don't understand why it's at these valuations. I don't know what they do,
Yeah.
and I kind of don't care. Here's a funny thing. I tell people the less I know about a stock, the better I am, and the reason is because I can't be biased. Like I won't let the
You want to
fundamentals
trade the
bias
price
my
action.
yeah, the fundamentals won't bias my
Yeah.
my technicals.
Well, you know what? There's like a long short trade here. There's like a pair trade maybe, like a Caterpillar and Deere. Have you seen them? Like DE is John Deere.
Yeah,
So like I don't know exactly what Applied
yeah.
Materials is, but like
This is a
look
long
at this
time ago.
strength, man.
Yep.
Cat and DE are strong, and you know who's been calling these out? Is that guy
Holy
Flyer
shit.
User on Twitter?
Uh-huh.
I've talked about his tweets on the show before. Let me pop that
Now,
up real quick.
why would these be going up so much? Because of the food shortage and like the pandemic, or
That's a good question. I don't actually have a really great answer for you.
I know lumber's like ridiculously expensive. Like if you go to Home Depot and Lowe's, they're asking double the amount that they were pre-pandemic for 2x4s, and triple the amount they were asking for 7/16 sheathing.
Yeah, this guy right here. I don't know if you can see on the stream.
Hmm.
User Flyer.
Oh, that guy. Yeah, I heard of
Yeah,
him.
this guy's great. I love his tweets. But yeah, he's been talking about Caterpillar and John Deere. He's been all over that strength.
Okay. Yeah, there he is.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a good follow. If you don't follow that guy, you should.
Yeah, I think I do. I'm pretty sure I follow that guy.
Oh, you know what? Let me put your Twitter up here. Hang on. Yeah, I didn't have your Twitter showing, but I do now.
I don't see it.
It'll show up in a second.
I wonder what goofy ass thing I have written up there now.
Yeah,
Half
it
of
may
it's
just take a
political and
minute to
half of
appear.
it's
Yeah,
the
you should see it
charts.
now.
Huh?
You should see it now on the stream.
Nope.
You don't?
But half of my stuff is political and half of my stuff is charts. Or, the market.
Yeah, DE looks good, man. It looks so strong.
Yeah.
The
Yep.
problem is that this is not a new. It's not new strength. This has been running for a long time.
What's Agri doing? Do you mind if I switch over to some futures?
Yeah, go ahead.
You want to look at some corn, or do you want to look at some soybean, oats?
I don't care. I
Or
rarely look at these, but I mean, I should
well,
look at them more. It's a good thing
corn's
to have on here.
corn's dripping, but it looks like it's starting to top out at.
Yeah.
Oh wait, it's starting to top out right about where it was. No, much higher than where it was before. I wonder if that resistance is going to be support. I don't know. All
Yeah,
right,
well, I
so
mean
let's.
that is kind of like a big long term breakout there that is happening right now. Like when
Yep,
you zoomed way out on these. So I mean, maybe that's why Caterpillar and John Deere are running. It's really hard to
agriculture.
say. Other than like that heavy equipment stuff, it does well in inflationary periods too.
Oh, okay. Yeah, heavy equipment. I've been pricing heavy equipment actually because we've been looking at farms.
Yeah. Well, I
But
probably need to go soon.
yeah, all the agri stuff is ripping as well, right alongside of
Yeah.
the tractor companies.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, let's do it again soon.
Yeah, man.
Good show.
Yeah, absolutely. Whoa,
Whoa, what's that?
that is the 5 year. Right, it's 5 year bonds.
Oh, wow.
That's a funny looking one, ain't it?
Yeah, holy cow. So, all right, could this be that there, is 5 year fall into the range of where the Fed might be selling? I don't know. I mean, that's crazy. I got to digest that.
No, no, because that's over a week ago.
Yeah. All right. What about 10 year?
That's 10 days, and that's 23 days. The 10 year don't look like that. Let me pull up the 10 year. ZN. Oh, I guess it
Yeah, it
does.
does.
Holy shit! How about that crazy shit, huh?
Yeah. And you know what stops this ultimately is dollar strength tipping over the stock market, and money leaves stocks, and everybody de-risks, and so people that were in stocks go into bonds.
Right.
That's what eventually stops this stuff. These big down moves, they happen.
Yeah. So do you want to look at the 30?
Sure. Yeah, then I probably need to go.
All right.
Yeah, so it's down even more. And so, this resembles like what we're seeing with TLT, right? Where it's like, okay, eventually this spills over into stocks and the yields get juicy enough that, you know,
I like that it's
investors
sitting
are
at the.
moving their money.
Yeah, I like it that it's sitting at the uh, second deviation, standard deviation.
Yeah.
So that's good.
All right. Well, Chris, I got to end it here, but thanks for coming on the show again.
Yeah,
And
man.
you want to talk about your trading room?
Yeah, I've been absent this last week. I know I suck if you've been trying to get over there because I haven't. I've been having a little bit of PTSD issues, but I am hoping that I will be there all week this coming week, Monday through Friday, from market open to market close. And the link to get into my Zoom room is in my profile. It's that only one highlighted thing in
Okay,
the.
and I think I have it in the comments, or I mean, I'm sorry, in the description of this video. I'm pretty
I'm
sure
gonna
I have the
pull it
link
up right
there.
now. Uh,
Okay, there we go.
there we go. It's this. Well, you can't. Can they see this right now?
Yeah, yeah, they could see it.
All right, this right here. That tiny URL will take you to my Zoom room.
Cool. All right.
All right.
Thanks for coming on, Chris.
Thanks for having me, John.
Adios.
Be good.